A big concern with the use of AI is the idea of intellectual integrity. Whose work is this? If I use an AI output, is it my thinking or is it the AI tool's thinking? Ideally, of course, we want it to be our thinking. That is the concern that's there in higher education, where professors are worried that students are submitting AI work. It's that same concern that we have in a clinical environment, where we're worried that clinicians are looking at AI diagnoses and taking whatever is produced by the AI tool as is. What I'm trying to get you to do in this course is to more critically engage with these AI tools to the end goal of taking ownership of the information that you produce with the help of AI. The first interaction that you had for EA, that's epistemic augmentation, that's what I call it, is where you put in a question, you got a response. Unfortunately, most people tend to stop at epistemic augmentation. They use tools like Gemini, ChatGPT, or Claude as a replacement for Google. So I ask a question, I get an answer, and everyone is happy. That is the entry state interaction. The next interaction, where you were iteratively refining your prompts, is where you're amplifying the product that you were getting, right? You're extending your cognitive engagement there. And this is where a lot of prompt engineering tends to stop at. We do a lot of iterative refining, and the product we get is the result of that. Of course, there'll be more work we'll do later, but we stop at this. Most people will stop at this stage. I'm going to ask you all to move beyond that to where you now start taking responsibility for the conversation, the direction of the conversation, and the information that you finally get. So you're going to take responsibility. You're reaching a stage of epistemic co-agency where you're navigating risk through the conversations that you have. So what kind of risk? There are issues of bias. There are issues of hallucination with these large language models. When you start pushing back on these tools, asking it to explain more, challenging the information it's providing you, asking it what can go wrong, you are basically critically analyzing the information it's giving you and having it reassess the information it's providing. So ultimately, what we're aiming for is this. Epistemic augmentation is where the AI tool gives you a response and the human consumes it with no actual interaction in the process or no thought involved in the process. Epistemic integration is the iterative refining that you do. The human is definitely involved in the process because you are guiding where you want the product to go. Where I would like you all to move towards is epistemic co-agency, where, as I mentioned with that micro data set and macro data set example, I worked with Gemini, and together we've come up with this part of the workshop on data sets and micro and macro data sets, which I would not have come up with on my own, well, at least not in this time frame. And the AI obviously was not giving it to me on its own. It had to be my back and forth and my challenging it for that particular end product to come out. And so what you're talking about is you're taking ownership of the interaction, and you are now at a space where you and the AI tool are working together and there is co-agency between you two. And that's what we're trying to get to in this course. I wanted you all to do this activity as the first activity because I want you to be familiar with this step-by-step prompting process so that you can use the same process for all the other assignments that you do in this course.